Hi, this is Christina from Hoopla.
And I'm Megan from Southern Branding.
And today we're going to talk about items that you can purchase that give back to different causes. And so I have a handful of companies that I love working with that do give back. And so do you want to start with Danik?
Sure. Well, first, okay, let's talk about why this
Sure.
is why this is a thing. Like
Yeah.
this is a trend in the industry that we're seeing, big time. And it's been around for a couple of years, but really this year I've seen more suppliers that have partnered with some type of charity on the backside that's doing donation. That makes it, where your money that you're spending actually has impact, which is great. So really big trend that we're seeing within the industry, actually one of the top three. So we've got retail gifts, we've got sustainable, and then we've got partnering with the give back cause. Those are the three biggest trends in our industry right now.
Yeah. And I'd like to also say, it's your money, it's your marketing spend. So if that's an important pillar or value for your company, this is a great way to make sure that your money is kind of going where your mouth is. So, yeah, I would love for you to show the custom journal that you just created.
Okay. Okay. So this is a company called Denick, and you have one too.
I do.
That's spiral bound.
Yeah, so I'll show that after yours.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is their soft journal. I love it. I love the texture, the feel of it. You get inside full color imprints, although my art is black and white on this. And then you can also do page imprints on every single page as well. You can do imprints on the spine. This is a gloss imprint, so it's not showing out just really, really well as I'm showing it there. But in person, it looks really, really beautiful, high end. But they partnered they build schools. So they have built 5 schools in other countries and are building their 6th this year. So this is one of my favorite supplier partners for Give Back Cause.
So another couple things I want to say about them, because I discovered them. I know I've only been in the industry for 3 years, but I discovered them my first PPAI show. And a couple things I love about them is that they're USA made. So everything's custom made in Utah. They really only offer a small handful of items, and they're all journals. And so the great thing about that is they know what they're doing. They're not trying to do everything under the sun.
It's their specialty. Yes.
Exactly. And so what Megan showed you, another item they offer is a spiral bound. And I love a spiral bound because I'm one of those people that likes to do it this way or, have it lay flat, even though Megan's does lay flat pretty well because I have another one that I did that's similar to Megan's that's full color. It has that soft touch finish, which if you've ever touched anything with a soft touch finish, you'll know what we're talking about.
And how popular is that right now? Journals, pens, drinkware, on everything.
Yeah, why not?
Power banks, feels amazing.
One other thing that I love about them is you can completely customize the inside. So if you're one of those people that likes a dot journal, with the dots instead, you could do the dots, you could do lines, you could do unlined, you could do graph paper. And another cool thing is they put in my signature pink, they put, a little message about how their proceeds from their sales do go to building schools. So you can make sure that messaging is kind of within the project so people know that, you're contributing to that.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yes. Okay. So I love that product. And then I think if we could talk about one of my other favorite vendors, which is Power Stick, and they're out of Canada. And I love working with them because they do fabulous graphic design support. So if you need to really wow and look retail and kind of, not only use your brand, but kind of use some creativity, that's complimentary from them. They're very good at turnaround times. They always have a lot of deep inventory. So we're not dealing with a lot of phone calls of, hey, this is out of stock now. I've showed this product before, but this is, their magnetic box that they do. So they're more of a tech company, I would say. But they also have a give back program, and their items are they're retail grade tech items. So I love them. And
the packaging is impeccable. It's always beautiful. And, also that those items are great to put on stores, one piece minimum, you
Correct.
set up, get it on there and then release it. It's great. They're beautiful.
Yeah. That's a great point. The one piece minimum. That's another reason I think I do love to use them is because I don't have to worry about a client saying, when you do a store, oh, someone, only ordered 2 of these. And then you have to say, well, you have to order 20 of them.
Right.
So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also on the tech side, another one of our favorites has started doing give back on some of their items as well. So this line from our favorite Origatio with the bamboo and the limestone, there's this, which is a speaker with a wireless charging on top. And then there's like a desk pad with wireless charging. And then there's a pencil cup, I think, all within the same line. And so this also has a give back they plant a tree with every purchase on it. So that's another great one on the tech side. And then, we were talking about this before, there are several of our supplier partners that have partnered with 1% for the planet. And so, I'm cuddled up right now in this blanket that I'm loving and feels amazing. I mean, we've all seen this blanket before, but this one is actually partially made from recycled bottles. And so with the purchase of this, it has the partner with the 1% back from the planet. And then in this particular supplier, everything that they have that is sustainable, recycled materials, the wheat straw, all of that related is partnered with the 1% back for the planet. So this mug that we've shown before that's made out of the wheat straw, same thing. It has that give back cause with it. And when you're making these purchases, you're also getting like a little card, little informational material with it. So with this one, it was the packaging that talks about how it's partnered. And, with this gift, part of the purchase is going towards 1% back for the planet. So that's also really nice. So you get the nice gift and then you get the feel good factor as well when you're actually giving it.
Yeah, I love that. So I think there are so many options to show you guys on give back programs. And so I think if you go to either one of our websites, you can easily find a section that says how to, work with give back programs. But really, if that's important to you, just tell your promotional products advisor, or if you're working with me or Megan, and say, I really want to make sure that I'm purchasing items that have a give back, because when we have our searches, they're very in depth. There's a lot of boxes that we can check to really narrow down, because there's millions of options out there. When someone says, hey, I want a pen and I want to spend $1, thousands of options will show up. So the more detail you give us, the easier it is for us to find that perfect match. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk just briefly then about how, we've shown, what we call like hard good materials, right? Like the promo products, but also this is creeping into the apparel side as well.
Sure.
I love. There's tons of lines now where it's t-shirts, sweatshirts, are actually, really nice. This is one of my favorites. Like, look at this gorgeous dress shirt. Really, really retail inspired looking pullovers that are all partnered with a give back cause. This specific one, this is Storm Creek. And I love Storm Creek because they're another woman-owned company and also have partnered with the 1% back for the planet. But, t-shirts, your sweatshirts, all made. Oh, I love that brand and their story. So there's so many options there. And when you're talking about this too, and like you mentioned before, this is part of your company culture. This is part of your values for your company, and you want to really support that, then, make your money make a difference. And you have a choice of where you're spending it. And it may be just a little bit more, but in a lot of cases, it's not. So, we can show you all that. And we didn't even talk about Basecamp, which we talked about that before on other shows, but, that's obviously one of our favorite. I love Sweeta and the entire Basecamp collection and giving back to the Wounded Warrior Fund. So that's one of my top ones I always suggest.
And then Patriot also is a similar.
Patriot, yep. Patriot's another great one. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only can you think about, the give back programs, but also Megan's been, kind of sprinkling in how you can use sustainable materials for your, different projects, whether it's apparel or it's hard goods. So if that's important to you, I mean, we can do both, or we can do one
Yeah.
or the other. So you just kind of need to let us know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So did you come up with a question this week, Christina? Because we didn't do one last week.
I have to be honest, I have not been on my A game lately. So I've been slacking a little.
We've been a little busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Had a few things going on. All right. So what book are you reading right now? Are you reading a book?
I'm listening on Audible. I'm listening to a book right now, kind of like a for fun book. I'm looking on my phone right now because I don't remember the exact name. Oh, it's called The Night Tiger. And it was on Reese Witherspoon's, like, she does kind of like a book club. And it was on her book club a couple years ago. And I purchased the Audible and never listened to it. So I just started it. So I'm listening to that right now.
Okay. I'm listening. So I'm listening to like it's a Diana Chamberlain book.
Is that Outlander? Is she Outlander? No, what did she write?
I mean, it's like fluffy
great.
Yeah. So that's my easy listening to. I listen to books in the car, like to and from, school, work, that kind of thing. And then also when I'm going to bed at night. I'll set it on the auto, and it's just easy listening, the noise, that 15-minute timer, and then I'm out. Yeah. So, and then I'm also reading, like actual reading, like highlighting and underlining Brene Brown right now. So
which one?
The Gifts of Imperfection.
Oh yeah, I have that on Audible. It's a great read. And I was also going to mention, another book that I'm like starting to read, because I'm the same with you. I kind of do both. I'll do like a fun book, and then I'll do more of a growth book. So I think the book that I've kind of put down, but I'm picking back up, is Thrive by Ariana Huffington.
Okay.
And it's just basically, she was so burnt out running Huffington Post, and I mean, having a lot of health problems. And so she like took a year to like really kind of regroup and figure out how to take care of herself. And then it just became a passion project. And now that's kind of where she focuses on her like writing and everything. So it's called Thrive. And I'm really excited. I'm just starting it. And then I also want to mention, for all of you people out there that, and I think I've told Megan about this already, but that are really busy, but love to read nonfiction books for, self-help, growth, business, marketing, whatever it is. There is this app called Blinkist. And I found out about it because my husband and I and the kids, we were on a road trip and we were listening to a podcast, and they kept talking about Blinkist. And my husband was like, "Oh, I've been meaning to tell you, I think you'd be into that." And so it's a very nominal fee. I think it's like $60 for the year. And it has a huge library of nonfiction books. And what it does is it takes any nonfiction book and it breaks it down into something called blanks, which is all the major points of the book, and kind of gives you excerpts. Because sometimes those like growth books or marketing books, they're really dry. And like you'll be reading them, and at the end you're like, if I could have gotten the Cliff Notes on that, I don't know if they do those anymore, but when we were kids, there was something called Cliff Notes.
Oh yeah.
So this is basically an audio Cliff Notes for nonfiction. So check it out if you're kind of short on time, but want to kind of read all those books that are out there.
Okay, so I have another question for you, because you're so much more tech savvy than I am. Like we were talking about this the other day, and I'm like, I handwrite. No,
right.
That's right. But that's how it like connects for me. Now, I don't know why the transition of like typing, like it doesn't, like I like to handwrite. So I was reading the survey the other day that was talking about, will email become antiquated? Like, is email going to go away? Because Gen Z, like, they don't like email. They're using all of these other, apps that I don't know anything about. So anyway, you're more up to date on that kind of thing than I am. What do you think?
Golly, it's hard to say, because I'm on that. What do they call it? I'm is it called a geriatric millennial?
Yeah.
Like I am in high school, cell phones came out probably when I was around 16, the Star Tax, came out. In college, I was still going to the library. You couldn't use Google. Google wasn't even that kind of big of a thing yet. And so I'm on the cusp, like I can do both. But I'm definitely not Gen Z. I could see it because, emails, how many emails do you think you get a day?
Hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds. I do too.
Yeah.
It's very hard to, and if you're a type A person, I like to have my email box very clean, except for things that need attention or action or whatever. I color code everything. And so I could see how that's just not going to work after a while and things are going to progress because I think a lot of the Gen Z uses Slack or Teams
Yes, that's what I was
or
talking
all
about.
of, yeah. And so it's more of a collaboration. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm always trying to stay on top of the latest and greatest because I'm all about work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
But I've been out of corporate America for 3 years, so I'm not as hip as I used to be with what the cool kids are doing out there.
What the cool cats are doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
I don't
know
know.
people. Well, I know people are burnt out, and they were when I was in corporate
Yeah,
America on emails and meetings, emails and
yeah.
meetings, emails and meetings.
Well, and now, like, I cannot tell you how many people that I've talked to, friends, clients, whatever, who are like, everybody is burnout and thinking that the grass is going to be greener somewhere else. So
Mhm.
it's that looking for, like, you're burnout, you're not fulfilled where you're at doing what you're doing because we're all burnout. And
Yeah.
but thinking like, okay, if I go somewhere else, it's going to be different or it's going to be better. What have you. But I think this whole, we've talked about this several times, but the whole past 18 months, 2 years
Mm.
with being glued to your computer
Yeah.
basically and trying to connect that way has taken a toll. And on one hand, for me, I've really enjoyed how much more accessible some things have been, like information. I've
Mhm.
really loved how our industry has, especially
Yeah.
has kind of come together and shared best practices and shared things that are working. And, I've learned and grown so much through that. But at the same time, it is exhausting, being glued to a computer and trying to connect with the outside world, doing these events like that. So I can
Also,
get that.
when to shut off. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's another thing. Working from home has increased burnout because there's
Yeah.
no line to, separate work time from home time. And if
Yeah.
you're not, vigilant on how to draw your boundaries, that's also burnout. I mean, I think they're calling it the great resignation
The
right
great
now.
resignation. That's right. I was having that
And
exact conversation last night. And, and even so, working from home, even if you're able to separate like the time boundaries, it's still your work is just right there. It's
mhm.
that mental, like it's right there. There's not a separation of I am leaving and going somewhere and leaving
Just
it
one more
behind.
email. Just one more email.
Mhm.
Oh, I could just hop on real quick. I do it. I do it myself. So,
Yep. Yep.
and a lot of times I'll end up emailing clients. Sometimes if I'm really busy, I'll work on a Sunday or I'll work in the evening and I'll email clients. And what I've been trying to be cognizant of actually in the last couple months is I'll schedule my email to send at 8 a.m. the next day, because when I'm sending emails at night and on Sunday, I'm perpetuating the behavior of, you know, just
It's that
working.
whole thought of, on the one hand, it's like, oh, they're going to see that I'm sending emails at 9 o'clock at night and I am super productive and da da da. But it's exactly what you just said. Like,
Yeah.
you're then perpetuating that.
Yeah.
Number one, you're setting that expectation, and there's going to be a
Mhm.
point where you're not going to be able to
Yeah.
meet it. And then number two, yeah, it's whoever's the most successful is the one that's driving themselves in the ground and
Yeah.
working the hardest and all. And that's just not so. And that's we could do a whole nother, like, yeah,
Well,
show
also, I want to say, and
talking
I
about
hope this is
this.
okay to say this, but Megan's, looking to hire someone for her team.
Yeah.
Is that okay to say? I
Yes.
said
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And we were talking before the show just how much she was struggling to find someone. But not only that, that people would just cancel right before interviews because they're all, virtual or whatever. And it's just, it's kind of in a weird, scary point. Everyone's quitting their jobs, but no one wants to like work. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's got to level out. Like at some point it will. I just don't think it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
So I think we got a ways to go. We're still stuck in this for a hot minute.
Oh, definitely. And one thing to tie it back to kind of what we do is, and I've only been in the industry for 3 years, but this is the time to give grace because, we work with suppliers and we're oftentimes trying to, come up with solutions, manage things on our end so that you never know about the stress that's going on behind the scenes. But, people are going to make mistakes. People are short staffed. Of course, I don't like dealing with it, but instead of going crazy on a supplier when they make a mistake or kind of come in late or whatever, with an item, I just have to tell myself we're in a time right now that no one's been in.
Ever.
And
Yeah.
and I just have to give grace. And my husband's the best at this. He's always like, okay, the hats aren't going to come in until the day after the event. Like, deal with it. It's life, people. I'm sure HR can just send out an email and say, I mean, obviously we don't want to say that, but he always brings it to that level. Like, it's not like anyone died. It's hats for an event. He's like, because I'm stressed out, and usually I don't have to deal with this because there's so many ways that me and Megan can kind of back out dates and kind of work through issues to make sure that we still get things there on time. But if and when that happens, just giving grace to the whole situation and understanding the bigger picture of it all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The bigger picture, humanity.
On that note, order your Christmas presents like now. All right.
Please.
All right. I think next week, I don't remember what we're talking about. I can't remember off the top of my head because my memory's just been not good lately, but
I don't remember either.
Yeah. Good. But October, it's going to be really fun because the whole month of October, we're having our favorite suppliers come in, and so it'll be not just me and Megan, we'll have a guest, and they will show us the hottest items for holidays that they have deep inventory on. So if you're not ordering your holiday, if you're not ordering your holiday gifts as we've been advising you this month, you better tune in next month because then you'll be able to see what your options are.
Yeah. And I do want to say though, that just because it's in stock, still doesn't mean that you're going to get it on time. It just means there's stock. Like production is still taking, 21 plus days.
I was going to say Megan, have you seen my new email signature?
Yes, I did. I noticed that the other day.
So my new email signature has a whole disclaimer on that. But also one of my favorite bags that I give out, the tuck and toss, the little packable bag that I give out. Love I'm doing 2 of those projects for separate clients right now. And their production time right now is 2 months. 2 months.
I know.
So yes. So people, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
All right. Till next week.
Till next week.
Yep. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.